Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 308. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hi.
This week on the show, we'll be talking about Barry Jenkins' If Beale Street Could Talk, along with something we're watching on the Watchlist, and new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. One quick bit of housekeeping. Our new episode of Saved by the 90s is up. It should be available as you're listening to this, so check that out on the website. You can find it on the website. You can find it on iTunes and all of the other podcast platforms. Just search for Saved by the 90s. Ken and I talk about a set of made-for-TV Christmas movies, and there's one straight-to-video Christmas movie in there from the 90s. It was something else. It was something else. Wow. Man. I want to cover more made-for-TV movies just in general, in everything I do, because they're a treasure.
I hope that that's your avenue that you kind of get into. It's your little groove, your little niche.
Ken and I have been talking about covering more made-for-TV movies, at least on the 90s show, so plan on seeing more of those. We covered a couple in the past.
But what I want to see is Film Pulse slowly transition into nothing but made for TV.
The problem is, that's fine, but the problem is the new made for TV movies are just not the same. Like they just suck. You have to let the made for TV movie ferment. Like you have to let it sit. You gotta
let it age.
It's like a yeast starter, right? You put it in the little container, and then you put it in the back of your closet, and you leave it in the back of your closet for a long, long time.
Just let that yeast eat,
and
then revisit it.
And then you come back to it years later, and it's perfect, flavorful, fragrant.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
So check out that. Also on that episode, we do a 90s holiday gift guide, which was really fun. We take a look at the top selling gifts of the decade and go over the history of them and the pricing and all of the
fucking catalogs.
The hype. Yeah, I love catalogs.
Man, you get that shit in the mail and you would just living room floor, just bam. Down on your stomach, get that highlighter out. Going nuts.
And a lot of them, if you remember the holiday versions of those catalogs, were
like
huge
books, dude.
Yeah, they were huge. And there's
all day affair.
Yeah, so while I was researching this, I found this website that has digitized hundreds of these Christmas catalogs, and you can page through them. And it's great.
Nice.
So anyway, check that out. Saved by the 90s, Christmas 2018. All right, let's jump into our review. Now, I have a review for this up on the site. So we'll start it with you, Kevin. I have a synopsis here. A woman in Harlem desperately scrambles to prove her fiancé innocent of a crime while carrying their first child. As I mentioned, this is directed by Barry Jenkins. This is adapted for the screen by Barry Jenkins based on a novel by James Baldwin. Kevin, what do you think of If Beale Street Could Talk?
This is pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal stuff. I think, the biggest thing that you have here is the performances are pretty much across the board incredible. Like and there's a lot of spots where someone gets just one scene or just like a collection of scenes that doesn't last too long, and they nail it. It's perfect. And all these little scenes are just done so well, and then collected as a whole, it's phenomenal. And
yeah,
the editing in this is great because it's constantly back and forth. You're in the present, you're in the past, but it never feels like disjointed in any way. and it doesn't necessarily seem to have like this predictable flow to it. Like that it's going to go to a flashback and then back in the present. Like it's just kind of just seamlessly shifting between the
Hmm.
two
I
constantly.
particularly, yeah, totally agree. I particularly like the transition when they had Regina King's character in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
how she would come on with the narration and then it would just like cut to that beautiful shot in Puerto Rico. I really loved the editing in this. I thought that, like you said, it's not necessarily predictable. It doesn't follow a specific structure, but it fits together so well.
Yeah.
Like you never know when you're about to jump back in time, but the link between what's happening in the present and what's happening in the past, it never feels disjointed.
Yeah. No. And also, which I think is a pretty great testament to Barry Jenkins's his adapting Baldwin's book here, because it feels like it still has that feel of a book, even with her narration throughout. But the narration never felt which the kind of tendency does in other cases, but here not so much. Is it doesn't feel cheap, like it doesn't feel like a cop out, like it feels at home in this movie.
Right. Oftentimes narration is used as a cop out where the it feels like the writer can't seem to convey these thoughts or emotions through dialogue or through the character's actions.
Yeah,
So a lot of times in movies, when you have narration, it just feels cheap. It's like, well, you couldn't convey what the narrator is saying in the movie itself, like in the story. But in this movie, and I was really curious to see how you would react to the narration. In this movie, it feels very much like we're being told a story, and it all it aids in what's happening on screen. It doesn't replace the actions of the characters or the dialogue.
yeah,
And I really liked the narration. It's also consistent. Like a lot of times with narration,
hmm,
it will happen inconsistently in movies where you'll have it at the beginning and then all of a sudden it's gone, and then it like might happen 3/4 of the way through, and it pops up conveniently as
yeah.
needed. Whereas I think good narration will have a consistent flow throughout the film, and I think that this is handled the way that narration should be handled.
And you got a lot of people just doing a really great job. The editors, the cinematographer, the composer, all the performances. I mean, essentially every single person that seems is a part of this movie did a fantastic job.
All of the I mean this is a movie that just is firing on all cylinders for me. Like I pretty much loved every aspect of this movie. I think that, like you said, the music is phenomenal. I love this is a movie that I could actually listen to the
Oh
score
yeah.
for, and I can't say that about a lot of movies, but the composer Nicholas Britell, he did the music for Vice this year as
Okay.
well, and the TV show Succession, which I don't know if you've seen the show Succession, but it has one of the greatest intro songs in TV that I've seen in a long time. I love the score in that show.
Okay.
So this dude is he's killing it right now. He also did the music for Moonlight and The Big Short as well.
Okay. Yeah, the music here is it just sets the mood perfectly.
Yeah, and it really does a great job of just underscoring the scene, and it's just perfect. Performances just across the board amazing. Regina King, I hope she gets nominated for supporting actress. I hope she wins because that was probably one of my favorite performances of the year.
Yeah.
And everybody else, does a great job too. Kiki Lane, Stephen James, they're all
Even
incredible.
Coleman Domingo is the dad.
Hmm.
Brian Tyree Henry that shows up in that one scene. But Jesus. Like,
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying at the beginning about like just these small scenes with like these little kind of tertiary characters that come into their lives. I talked about this before when I first saw this movie at the New York Film Festival, and one of my favorite scenes is the one with Dave Franco and that little exchange that they have on the roof. I thought that was just such a tender moment, and you have a lot of moments like that, like his like Diego Luna's character as well, and Brian Tyree Henry. These are all these just small moments that add so much to the overall narrative, which is another thing that I really loved about this movie is the relationship that Tish, the main character played by Kiki Lane, the relationship she has with her parents. I loved the family dynamic.
I do.
With her
Yeah, there was a
parents.
part of me that wanted more of that family. I wanted to hang out with them more.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the most powerful scene in the movie, and the thing that Regina King will most likely get nominated for an Oscar for, is the scene when, Tish comes home and she tells her family that she's pregnant, and they invite Fonny's family over to tell them, and the reaction of Fonny's mother and how that all plays out, that whole sequence, just how powerful that moment is in the movie. It's just absolutely incredible. Just the love and support that her family gives her. It's not something that you see too often, which is sad. I feel like in a lot of these movies, you have these characters that are like come from very dysfunctional families, like their dad's an alcoholic and all of this stuff. But that's not the case with this movie, and it feels so refreshing.
And again, that come back to it where you have like Regina King she's getting a lot of buzz for awards, rightfully so. She is phenomenal in this movie. But if you do, like, at the end of it, think back, like, she's in like 3 scenes.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think 2 major scenes that would be make her in consideration of the awards. There's that scene I mentioned in the living room, and then there's the scene when she goes to Puerto Rico. Those are the like 2 big moments she has.
And then again, like Brian Tyree Henry, he one scene, he shows up for a little bit. He's at the house having a conversation, and then you don't see him for the rest of the movie. But that was a huge scene, like very impactful.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Just a really powerful movie. Another thing that struck me about it was that the love story angle. I mean, at its core, I feel like this is a love story. Yes, you have the
injustice, the racial
the injustice that's happening. Yes, of course, you have the fact that he was arrested for a crime that he didn't commit, and they're trying to navigate a justice system that is incredibly biased towards Black people, and they have an uphill battle that they're trying to fight to get him out of prison. But I feel like at its core, it's the love story that sort of takes precedence over all of these other elements. And I think as far as love stories go, I feel like this is it's a phenomenal one.
Oh yeah. And I think the one of the biggest reasons that works outside of the performances and everything that you have is Barry Jenkins' direction is like, you can feel it like on screen. Like he loves these characters. He deeply loves them. He has like an adoration for these characters. Like you can just feel it everywhere.
You immediately form a bond with them from the opening scene. I think that the way that he starts the film with them saying goodbye to one another as he goes and turns himself in to go to jail, I think that moment was such a great way to start the film, because we immediately form a bond with these characters, and how he has them looking directly into the camera a lot too. Mm-hmm. You see that a lot. That happens a lot in this movie, and it makes everything more powerful, more impactful.
It's kind of crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it was insane to me to see what he went from Medicine for Melancholy to Moonlight, because it just felt like such a huge leap. Mm-hmm. And then this happening now, where I gotta keep reminding myself that this is like his third feature.
Yeah.
It's
incredible.
because he feels like this like heavyweight, you know, like the
Yeah.
big the big name.
I think at this point he can be considered a heavyweight. To have this being his third movie, this will probably be, I mean, it should be nominated for Best Director, Best Picture, among other considerations, certainly Best Editing and others. I think, yeah, he should be considered a heavyweight at this point.
Yeah.
Give him a Marvel movie now.
No, don't, please, don't ever.
Well, what if he did Black Panther
No,
too?
don't, please don't. Stop stealing people. It just
that's the saddest thing about that is,
well, it feels like that's the new director jail, where it's not that you don't get to make your own things, is that you now get stuck making franchises. Like, we're gonna handcuff your creativity.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about Sam Raimi the other day and just how I really miss Sam Raimi doing his own stuff. You know, it's like Drag Me to Hell was such a amazing movie, and it made you think like he's going back to doing his own stuff, doing what he wants to do. But it seems like he's in the Disney fold now.
Yeah,
actually, Jon Favreau did the same thing, right? He was doing the Iron Man movies, and then he did Chef.
Yeah, it kind of popped out,
and then back to the Marvel stuff or Disney stuff. Yeah. Anyway, if Beale Street could talk, highly recommend seeing it. Any final thoughts on it?
This does not happen often. Again, all the aspects of this movie are fantastic, but I might actually have to get this soundtrack. Like, I'm gonna have to get this score.
It's very good.
Which I don't know. The last time I was like, oh, I got to get that movie score.
It's also a rare film moment when they reuse the same song multiple times and it doesn't grate on me. Like normal, a lot of times if they use the same song in a movie, I will quickly be like, all right,
but
you guys couldn't come up with some other stuff.
But
the way, but the way in which they use it here, it feels very deliberate. Like it's a cue. It's like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be like. All of the moments when that song plays are similar moments. So it evokes this sort of continuity of emotion. And I think that it works in this scenario.
Yes.
But not most.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that for us usually don't work, but they worked quite well here. Like narration, using the same music, those types of things.
I believe that I scored this a 9 out of 10 in my review. What are you looking at for If Beale Street Could Talk?
Copy and paste it. Give you that 9. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty high up on my list of top movies of the year. Might even be number 1.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you too with that. I completely agree with all that. It's going to be in that top 5, I'm pretty sure.
All right, that's If Beale Street Could Talk. That's playing in limited release right now. Let's move on and talk about someone we've been watching on the watch list. As usual, being the year-end stuff, I got a ton to go over. The big one I want to start with is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Oh boy, this movie floored me. I was pretty excited for it. After that first trailer, I was like, oh man, the animation looks really cool. Looks like they're doing something different and unique with this. I'm into it. But man, it is so much better when you actually see it on the big screen. This is a movie that is just incredible. I couldn't even believe what I was watching. Like, this is, I'm a pretty big fan of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. This is the best Spider-Man adaptation, hands down. better than all the Raimi films, better than Spider-Man Homecoming. This is like the best iteration of Spider-Man.
Wow.
It's so good. It's so funny. The idea of the making a film out of the Spider-Verse story arc was a really good idea, and I think that Phil Lord co-wrote the script, and I think that really shows that, because there's a lot of sort of irreverent humor in it that matches the sort of Lord and Miller style, and man, does it work here. It is so funny. I mean, I was just rolling at some of the jokes and stuff in this movie. It is really funny, but the big thing is the animation. The animation is just next level stuff. It looks amazing. Never seen anything like this, and this is a must see on the big screen. Just can't recommend this movie enough. And the casting, the voice cast in this, you have Shameik Moore playing Miles Morales, Jake Johnson playing one of the Peter Parkers, Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Marshala Ali as Uncle Aaron. Actually, the dad is played by Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, you fucking kidding me? That's another thing that I've come to realize, is that I am obsessed with him.
Well, you need to watch Atlanta.
Yeah, I watched the first season of Atlanta, and that's where I got obsessed with him, because man, is he good in that show. And then everything else I've seen him in is, jeez.
Make sure you watch the second season, because the second season, there's a lot of heavier emphasis on his character.
Yes.
And there's several episodes that are just follow him.
Good.
And it's
they realized who
incredible.
The star is. Nice.
There's an episode that just follows Lakeith Stanfield. They switch it up in the second season. Yeah. Anyway, Lily Tomlin plays Aunt May. Zoe Kravitz is Mary Jane. John Mulaney's in there. Nicolas Cage plays Spider-Man Noir. And Liv Schreiber plays Wilson Fisk or Kingpin. Chris Pine is in there. He plays another Peter Parker. So you get this amazing voice cast that is just delivering some of the funniest lines in any movie I've seen this year. And then you have that coupled with an incredible soundtrack. It's got this great, it's a hip hop soundtrack, but it mixes a lot of the new school stuff with the old school stuff. So you have like Notorious B.I.G. in there. You have Black Alicious in there. You have some like old school like break beats in there. And then you have that mixed in with some of the newer, more contemporary stuff. And man, it is just a great time.
It sounds fun. It sounds like a fun time, which is what Spider-Man should be. Spider-Man should just be fun.
It is very fun. Yes. Highly recommend Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right. I watched a fun one, and that's Uncle Drew from Charles Stone III.
I watched this too.
For whatever reason, like when this first came out, I was like, man, I just got to check that out at some point. And then over like the last like couple weeks, I've been dying to see this movie for some reason. Like I just wanted to have fun. And I wanted it to be a basketball comedy because I just miss basketball.
Yeah. Well, one thing that listeners should know is that you were a big fan of basketball. Big basketball guy.
Big basketball guy. Big. And with this movie is great because it has little nuggets in there. Like if you know basketball, like they have the Chris Webber, we don't have any more timeouts joke. Shaq complaining about someone not passing the ball and calling him Kobe. Like if you know basketball, there's a good amount of humor in here. But I think also at the same time is you don't necessarily have to be well versed in basketball history to get a lot of the jokes, Like for me, it was just fun. And it did have a lot of the, it had one of the things that I know me and you both love, which is getting the group back together. Got to get your crew. And they assemble the crew.
I love that was a huge portion of the movie too. Like a giant portion of the movie was them driving around.
Yes.
Putting the team back together.
Because at one point I was starting to think like, are they gonna play basketball?
Yeah, are they ever gonna play? Is it just gonna be one game? I was like, oh man, I want to see him. I want to see him play a little more than just one game.
And I love that once they got the crew together, that Uncle Drew hands out like his little trinkets, which they essentially like unlocked. They were like
Yeah, they power
superheroes.
him up. Yeah.
Which is just, it's so ridiculous. And the fact that this is a movie born out of essentially a Pepsi ad campaign, it has no right to be this good. Like, I thought it was going to be kind of stupid. And I mean, at points it does get a little bit sappy, which doesn't really work. But a lot of the humor for me, I thought was great. Like, it worked.
Oh yeah. I thought it was tremendously funny. Like the Shaq's character is just, oh my god, he's great. They're all great.
And just Nick Kroll and Little Rel, just the way that they would make fun of each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so ridiculous.
They had a great rivalry.
They did. One of the best. One for the ages.
Yeah, I liked this movie a lot too. I thought it was really funny.
Good times, Uncle Drew. Good times.
Let's see. I saw Vox Lux.
Okay.
This is the new one from Brady Corbett with Natalie Portman starring as a pop singer.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot different than I expected. I didn't know a lot about going into it. I knew the synopsis. I knew it was about a young girl who went through some sort of violent tragedy and became a pop sensation through that, and something else happened. But I will say that the opening of this movie is probably one of the best shot and most powerful openings of any movie I've seen this year. It was just, it's rough, but it was just really, really well done. The movie itself gradually lost me as it went on, which is really unfortunate because I was loving this movie up until maybe shortly after Natalie Portman, after the character of Celeste transitioned from being like a teenager into Natalie Portman's character, with her as an adult.
Okay.
Which is weird because I really love Natalie Portman and pretty much everything she's in, but for some reason it just started losing me after it got to that point. Didn't lose me completely, and I think that the movie is overall still well done, but yeah, it became a little tedious after it switched over to the adult version of Celeste. But either way, I would give it a light recommend. Vox Lux. There's some really great cinematography in this.
Okay.
As you might expect with a Brady Corbett movie. I feel like his style feels very European inspired. His movies don't necessarily feel like typical American movies.
Okay. I caught up with Private Life from Tamara Jenkins, which is available on Netflix. So this one, you got Paul Giamatti, you got Catherine Hahn, you got Molly Shannon in there, Kaylee Carter, John Carroll Lynch. This is pretty good. This is a pretty funny movie. Catherine Hahn and Molly Shannon and Paul Giamatti are all pretty great in this. And it's kind of a roller coaster because what it comes down to is Catherine Hahn and Paul Giamatti trying desperately to have a kid. And they're essentially doing everything. Trying to adopt, but also at the same time doing the assisted reproduction stuff. So it's constantly that. It's constantly them trying to get a kid and failing. And then failing again. And then failing again. And it's just but for the movie to like kind of keep this this through line of comedy is quite surprising, really. I mean, that's not an easy task because it is kind of draining because the hopes get lifted up, and then it just all comes crashing down, and then it just cycles over and over again. And I was quite surprised by this one. I thought I would, enjoy it marginally, but it was pretty damn good because it's got that nice mix of drama and comedy in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what Tamara Jenkins, she did Savages and Slums of Beverly Hills, and both of those movies are very dark comedies.
Yeah, I wasn't too big of a fan of Savages.
Nor was I, but I really liked Slums of Beverly Hills. I'm a huge fan of that.
Well, I think give Private Life a shot. I think you'll enjoy it.
I will.
Do it. It's right there. It's on your Netflix.
I'll add it to the list. I got many things to watch. Many things. Just keeping on the Netflix train, I watched Roma this weekend. This is the Alfonso Cuarón one. It takes place... What?
It's just ridiculous that you could get his newest movie on Netflix. You can just pop on there.
Well, I don't know how you watch Netflix, but on the Apple TV app, when you open up the app, they change the whole like intro thing.
Yeah.
So like
it was
when you
I thought it was interesting.
Pick your profile, they changed all of that. They changed like the fonts and the colors and everything.
It's just weird that it was the first time that I got on Netflix, and the movie that was released by Netflix was actually smack dab right there.
I know, right? You're like, oh wow, I didn't have to actually search for this movie. I think that they knew that this was a much, much higher profile release than what they normally do.
Yeah.
And this is also released in theaters as well. So I would say if you can see it in the theater, do so. It is a movie that is very reliant on its visuals. They even released a guide to how to set your TV for like perfect viewing for this movie.
Yeah.
Like the different settings and things that you should set your TV to get the optimal visual fidelity for this movie. It's shot in this gorgeous black and white. Oh my God, this movie is incredible looking. Story-wise, it's good. It's I have very few criticisms with the movie itself, but maybe I was just not in the right mindset to watch it, but it felt a little plodding to me. It's about a housekeeper in Mexico City in 1970 through 1971, and just the trials and tribulations of her life, and sort of the juxtaposition of working for this sort of wealthy upper class family versus like her reality when she leaves work and sees the sort of squalor that some people live in Mexico City during that time. Mm-hmm. It's a tough movie at times. It's very sad and depressing at times, but also somewhat heartwarming in moments as well. Certainly worth a look. The lead, Yalitza Aparicio, she's incredible in this. There's a very harrowing scene that happens towards the end of the film that is should put her in awards consideration territory. She's really incredible in it. But overall, I would recommend watching it. Just make sure that you're in the right mindset to go through a movie like this. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, so it's not a breezy movie by any stretch.
Yeah. I also have another one that's on Netflix.
Oh, big Netflix weekend.
You get triple billed if you want, guys. That is Happy as Lazzaro. This is directed by Alice Rowaker, which she did, what was that movie? Like 2014, 2015? I think it was The Wonders, it was okay. It was an alright movie. And then I heard a really good thing about this one. And I went into this movie completely cold. I didn't know a goddamn thing about this thing. And that's the best way to go about this. So I'm not going to say too much, okay? So just go in knowing as little as possible for maximum effect. And the reasoning for that is I have not been this surprised by a film in a long time. I thought I knew what was going on, and then I was just completely flabbergasted as to what happened. It just became a different movie altogether. But one thing I can talk about are a couple things. Cinematography is great. It's beautiful. The Italian countryside, whew, boy, it is captured quite nicely. And then the central performance of Lazzaro is by an unprofessional actor, not professional, Adriano Tardiolo. And he plays this guy, Lazzaro, who is essentially, people kind of mistake him for a simpleton because he has this alacrity to him and this selflessness, and he essentially just does whatever you tell him to do, and he just always has this look on his face of just like, he's kind of like a puppy where he does whatever you want him to do. His face is always kind of blank. He has huge eyes, and he's always happy. He's always nice. He's always doing things for people. He's always helping everyone out. And essentially, he's just being taken advantage of all the time. He's just this like essence of purity and altruism. And he's just being taken advantage of his entire life. And that plays into the overall storyline. But again, just go into it. Just watch it. Be surprised. This is actually this is going to be like top 3 for me of the year. This thing is incredible.
Well, I'll definitely have to catch up with it. Maybe I'll try to do that today.
It's on Netflix. You can just stream them all.
Just stream it. Just stream it up. Take a day, stream it up.
Call off work.
The last one I'll mention, this is one that I've been meaning to mention for the last like 3 weeks and keep forgetting.
Okay.
Is True Stories. This is from 1986, directed by David Byrne. Man, I've never seen this movie before. For some reason, I thought that I did see this movie at one point because I always remember that cover, but I never did see it. And it came out on Criterion, got it on Criterion, and gave it a look. This movie is incredible. Oh my God. Have you seen this movie, Kevin?
I have not.
You have to see this movie. It is so amazing. It was like the sort of offbeat, quirky comedy before that was really a thing. I mean, like in a lot of ways, it seems like David Byrne, like started the whole like quirky, odd, heartwarming comedy shtick, because this movie is it's just joyous. It's just a joyous, fun, happy, weird movie. So if you're not familiar, Dave Byrne, Talking Heads, lead singer of the Talking Heads, he decided, you know what? I want to make a movie. He had a rough idea of elements that he wanted to have in the movie, but he didn't really know how to put it together into like a cohesive narrative. So he just had like a wall in his house that was just storyboards, and he invited over Stephen Tobolowsky and another writer, Beth Henley, and asked them, "You guys think you could put this into something? Could you make it into a script?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." So they worked on this script, and what we ended up with was this amazing sort of slice of life story that it follows several characters in this fictional Texas town in the mid 80s during the tech boom of the 80s, when Texas was making all of their microchips and conductors and all of that stuff. And you just follow these characters, these very odd characters. So you have John Goodman as this lonely guy who's looking for a wife. So he like puts a big sign in his yard and has commercials on TV and gets creates newspaper ads to try to find a wife. And then you have like this one woman who never gets out of bed, but she has all these like robots that like feed her and stuff. And you just have all of these like sort of strange people in this town, and they all sort of interconnect, and they all tell their own little story about who they are and what their thing is. And it's just this really light, fun, odd movie. I would call it a musical. It's very heavy on the music. There's a lot of like sort of musical interludes and stuff, a lot of Talking Heads music in there that's all original. But then he also brings in some additional artists to do some songs, and all the music is really great. And it looks great. It's funny, it's weird, and I really loved it. True stories. It's the only movie he ever directed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that.
Yeah, I think you'll really love it too. It's just sort of just meanders through this town, and David Byrne is in it. He plays this sort of traveler who just floats in and out of the lives of these people, sort of like this like traveling minstrel almost. But it's really great. All right, let's take a look at some new releases in theaters. Coming up this week, we got Mary Poppins Returns on the 19th. What do you think about this one?
No, thank you.
Same. I do like that they went back to the live action with the 2D animation. Now, there's a lot of like CG in it as well, but it looks like at least parts of it are going to be pulling back in the 2D animation.
Okay.
Which I like that. At least they're seeming to go for the same tone as the original.
All right.
And I like the idea of Emily Blunt playing Mary Poppins, but
just watch the original.
I have to confess, I wasn't a fan of the original, so
there you go.
I can't say as I'm too excited for this one. I don't have anything against it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I wasn't into it. Anytime they would play it in school or daycare or wherever, I'd be like, oh God, here we go. On the 21st, we have Aquaman coming out.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
You know, I've heard decent things about this. The trailers do not look very good. However, there's this one trailer that came out that's like 5.5 minutes long. Was this extended trailer they released, which essentially had an entire scene from the movie in it. It was almost like a clip rather than a trailer, but there was this action scene, and it was like sort of a chase scene, and it was excellent. I mean, it was excellent. So seeing that one sequence made me think, okay, maybe there is something to this movie. So obviously I have no expectations for it, but I'll probably check it out. Why not?
It looks ugly as shit.
Yeah. I agree. I think that the effects work is not great looking. Now, the weird thing about that is you can't really judge from a trailer, because for some reason I find most movies that are very heavily animated and have a lot of CG look better when you're actually seeing the movie in the theater over the trailer.
Okay.
But I will agree with you. It just doesn't look very good visually. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I like James Wan. So I'm kind of curious to see what he does with the superhero movie. But yeah, we'll have to see. Bumblebee also comes out on the 21st. This is another one that is, I think people are going to be surprised by this one. I think I'm going to be surprised by this one. It currently has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And
wow.
The consensus is that this is sort of the Transformers movie that we should have got from the very beginning. A lot of people are saying it's the best of the Transformers movies.
Okay.
And it's directed by Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings, and he's a Leica guy. He produced Box Trolls and Paranorman.
Okay.
And the upcoming Missing Link. So sort of an interesting person to have on board with the Transformers movie. And this one looks decidedly different than the other ones. It doesn't look similar to the Bay ones that we've had in the past. So, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see it on the big screen, see what it's all about. It looks like it could be good. I don't know.
See what Bumblebee's getting into.
I would love a good Transformers movie. As a fan of the series growing up, I would love to see a good live action adaptation of it. And I didn't hate the original one, the first one, but this one looks better. We also have Welcome to Marwen. This is the one with Steve Carell. It's the Robert Zemeckis directed one about the guy who is a war vet who gets assaulted and loses his memory and decides to create these like very intricate doll like scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a documentary about this, or maybe it was just a show that featured a segment.
It's a great documentary. Marwen Call. Fantastic. Just watch that instead. It's like one of the best documentaries from like the last, 10 years or so.
That's right.
It's incredible. This movie looks dumb as shit. It looks really bad.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like Welcome to Marwen is this year's downsizing.
Okay. Well, wasn't downsizing this year too, or no?
No, that was last year. Yeah, that was the end of last year.
I thought that was one of those things where it was like it came out at the beginning of the year, and since this year has felt like 4 years long, that we just assumed.
I think maybe it didn't go wide until after the first of the year, maybe, but I'm pretty sure it was a year-end thing.
Okay, which means I got it. 2018.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, at any rate, I would say doesn't look great to me. I probably won't be watching it. I probably will watch it at some point, like when it hits Netflix or something. Yeah. But let's see. We also have Second Act. This is the romantic comedy with Jennifer Lopez. Doesn't look very good. Cold War is getting a limited release. This is the much talked about it's a love story, takes place during the Cold War.
That's just it. Like the people, this was hyped, but it was hyped like a year and a half ago on the internet. Like I figured it came and went already, and I just never got it.
I think that this is probably a good contender for best foreign language film this year.
Oh yeah.
It seems like it checks all the boxes. I haven't seen it yet. I sort of was planning on seeing it before the end of the year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze it in or not.
All right, you got to get the Bumblebee.
Yeah, got Bumblebee and Aquaman. How can I fit in Cold War? Because we're going to be off next week for the holiday, I figure that I'll go over some of the Christmas releases as well. On Christmas Day, we have Holmes and Watson. This is the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly Sherlock Holmes movie. Yeah. I'll give it a look. It could be funny.
Yeah, anytime
they're great. They're a great duo. Yeah.
I just wish they were doing something other than Sherlock Holmes.
I think that could yield a lot of comedic moments. I mean, I've seen there's like a trailer, maybe two trailers and a TV spot or two that are out now. Some parts of it are funny. Some are like, no, I don't think so, but yeah, we'll see. Also on Christmas Day, we have Vice. This is the Adam McKay film. I would say that's worth checking out. Our review will be up today as you're listening to this. Destroyer comes out. This is the Nicole Kidman one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I was wondering what was going on with this movie.
That might be a limited release. I'm interested in this. I'm probably going to actually check this one out after I'm done recording. Oh. So I'll follow up when we come back after the break and let you know how that was.
Okay.
On the Basis of Sex comes out. That looks like it could be okay. It's the biopic about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Another one.
Well, the other one was like actually a documentary.
I know, but it just seems like a shit ton of movies about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But you know what that means, right? She's gonna die very soon. I'm sorry to say, but it seems like every time there's a biopic or a documentary about somebody, they die like right after.
It's so weird that like our culture is so weird. Like we just get fixated on a person and just drive them into the ground with like a shit ton of docs and whatever.
Well,
and it seems like for like the last 2 years, it's been her.
Well, it's very important that we keep her in our thoughts in these trying times, because she's the one holding it all together right now for us on the Supreme Court, at least. That's pretty much it for theaters. Let's talk about VOD. We got Santa Claus coming out on December 17th. Got Bleed Out, which is an HBO doc that's coming out on the 17th as well. We got Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers on the 18th. That's a documentary.
Like that title. That's a good title.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On the 21st, we have Struggle, the Life and Lost Art of Zikolsky. That's on Netflix. Also on Netflix is Bird Box. That's the one we talked about last week with Sandra Bullock. And then on the 25th, we have The Harrowing, which is a horror movie.
Okay.
On Blu-ray, we have Venom coming out. I'd skip that one. I was not a fan of Venom. The Predator, which is the new one. That one is worth a look. I would give that one a look. The House with a Clock in Its Walls. It's one with Jack Black, the family film directed by Eli Roth. Probably, I heard not great things about that one. A Simple Favor. It's one with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Deep Throat is getting a collector's edition.
Huh.
Yeah. Assassination Nation coming out. Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 11/9. Schindler's List is getting a new 4K and a new Blu-ray edition. This was recently re-released in theaters for a short time as well. 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's some new pack of Saw movies. 8 films.
Ooh.
Guess it's all the Saw movies.
Big old box set.
Big old Saw box set. Pick it up.
It's time for the holidays.
Yeah. What the hell? The Super starring Val Kilmer. Airstrike starring Bruce Willis and Adrian Brody. Satan Never Sleeps from 1962 getting a Blu-ray release.
He sure doesn't.
He's always at it. Workaholic, that guy.
He's got too much going on.
That's pretty much all I have for Blu-ray. The following week is, because it's Christmas, there's really nothing coming out at all. White Boy Rick is coming out on Christmas Day.
Okay. That's a movie that it seemed to come out and absolutely no one talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny because I thought it looked pretty good. I was interested in it. And
it didn't look bad.
Yeah, it just came and went. Nobody said anything about it.
Yeah.
What about Criterion's coming up?
We got Ingmar Bergman's 1953 Sawdust and Tinsel. It's getting a new Blu-ray. It's not really a whole lot on there. Just kind of like an audio commentary from a scholar. That's about it, really. And then Penny from 1946, directed by Julien Duvivier. So you got two to pick from to go along with your Saw box set.
There you have it.
Pick it up.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. As I said, we'll be taking next week off, but come back the following week where we'll have Ken back on the show for our big year-end wrap-up, where we talk about the hits and misses of 2018, sort of the trends happening and all of that stuff, including our top movies of the year. So be sure to tune into that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a great holiday. If you want to send us your questions and topics, you can send them to feedback@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/filmpulse. consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you in 2019.
Oh, you got him with the joke.
Yeah.
I guess. That's my favorite work joke. Love it.
See you next year.
See you. We'll worry about it next year.